Zachary Burke will give the invocation.
Bow our heads, please. Most gracious Father, we thank you for allowing us to meet again this afternoon. We thank you for all the blessings. We ask for your guidance in our decisions. We ask that you bless each and every one that is present. Go with us and guide us in our decisions. We ask in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I ask everyone to remain standing. I lead you in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Hodges. Here. Alderman Pelfrey.
Present.
Alderman Reed.
Here.
Alderman Mosley.
Here.
Alderman Henderson. Here. Alderman Burks.
Present.
Note that all are present. Item 4 would be called at this time, approval of the minutes for March the 12th, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Fulton and Alderman Henderson seconds to approve the minutes of February 13th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor raise your hand. I see 6 for and none against. Second item would be continuation of item 4, would be approval of the minutes of the called meeting on April 2nd, 2012.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor raise your hand. I see 6 for and none against. Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
Okay, the balance in the general fund on March 31st was $288,496.30. Year-to-date revenues were $588,734.06. Expenditures by department are as follows: administrative, $60,129.98. Law enforcement, $215,471.15. Fire, $59,042.09. Sanitation, $144,249.92. Building codes, $10,433.61. District court, $18,434.82. Municipal building, $4,667.60. Recreation, $23,304.27. Cultural center, $3,593.59. Armory is $3,010.66. And other expenses was $32,303.39. For total expenditures of $574,640.95. And for the year, we're up increase of $14,093. Balance in the street fund on March 31st was $198,471.94. Year-to-date revenue is $75,648.10. Total expenditures $89,783.62, and we're down for the year $14,155. The other accounts on March 31st, our balance was $2,306,292.80. Year-to-date revenue $1,024,687.09. Year-to-date expenditures $1,084,064.33, and that's a decrease for the first quarter of $59,377. You should also have a copy of the treasurer's report in the package.
Move that we approve the financial statement. Second.
Motion by Alderman Henderson, second by Alderman Fulton to approve the financial statements. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval raise your hand. I see 6 for and none against. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, you recognize.
Okay, in March we received $54,378.41 in city sales and use tax. That's a year-to-date total of $176,257.96, and we're down from the same period last year of $10,195. And I just added the second sheet for your information. County sales and use tax, we received $37,035.40 in March. Year-to-date total is $120,448.80, and we're down from the same time period last year of $5,500. You should also have the district court clerk's report, and it'll be for December and January. And we have the first quarter overtime report also.
You might note on the city sales and use tax, it's 5.5% is what that $10,000 is down, and 4.5% on county sales and use tax. To give you an idea of what the percentage is running and a decrease on revenue. In your cash flow report of the Bertie Mays Treasury Report, you know that if you'll notice on the second page, emergency service, we paid part of that bill, and that's why your expenditures are substantially more than your income for one of the reasons. We paid $76,162 in cash that went out for paying for remodel. It affects your cash flow. It's already in your budget. You already have it in your budget. Aldermen are recognized at this time to introduce anyone, and I also have a list of folks that have desired to speak about different issues. And if nobody has anybody to introduce, I'll start with Emily Harden. They want to talk, I think, about Scott Street. Is Emily here?
Okay,
Yeah, would you like to come up, please?
I can.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Me and my husband are fairly new to SCOTA, but because we have 2 young children, we have noticed some potentials, and we want to try to prevent those. And one way that we have proposed and been talking about is by making SCOTA a dead-end street. One of the reasons is Mitchell's is behind us, and that's very busy. We've seen 18-wheelers come by. Some people use SCOTA as access after they leave Mitchell's to come up and down, driving very fast. And with little kids out in the streets, something could happen. So that was an easy way that we thought prevent something before some tragedy happens. Also, we've had, I don't know how many, but we've had some car thefts. And hopefully by blocking that off, that could, again, prevent that. They have forklifts that come. Wise is right here, we're SCOTA, and the forklifts have to come back and forth to load and unload, and you never know what could happen. They do have a fence around it, so they have tried for safety reasons, I think, just to keep them better. But who's to say that one of our kids isn't going to run out in the street? So we were thinking dead end it, and hopefully, like I said, prevent something before it ever happens. It's a concern of ours. I don't know if anybody else wants to talk.
Any questions from the council?
Just for my clarification, let's see, SCOTA is running by
East.
Mitchell's, right?
East and west.
It's
West,
perpendicular.
east, okay.
Did you say cars have been stolen on that?
No, not cars. The cars have been broken into.
Oh, broken into, okay.
Scott Street running the wires
Yeah.
comes up from across the church all the way across.
But our hope or desire was that if you dead end it, then people that are going from Mitchell's or other places, they'll have to use either Central or Church Street to access it instead of using the residential street to go up and down. Because like I said, we have 2 young children. There's 3 other couples that have young children that like to play on the sidewalks, and I mean, you never know, they're riding a bike, they can fall in the street, and one of the vehicles that are driving fast, or like I said, the 18-wheelers that come to drop off stuff, the forklifts that are going and they can't hear as well. I mean, it could even potentially help them as well.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion we refer that to the street committee?
The motion's been made to refer it to the street committee,
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All
Why
in
you
favor?
why you want to look at me like that?
Because you're a good, wise gentleman. Any other discussion on this issue? All right, it's referred to the street committee.
We hadn't voted on
Well,
that.
let's vote on that. All right, all those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. All right, it carries, it goes to the street committee. Now I recognize Mr. Harton if he'd like to come forward. I might explain the process,
I've already said that it's not, because anything's happened that could prevent it.
I'd like to explain the process so you won't look so bewildered at me.
Yes, sir.
Normally on issues like this, what we do is have, we've never had a closed street since I've been mayor, but as I recall, what we do, for instance, on speed bumps, we require that you get a petition and get everyone on the street to agree to it. That would be for speed bumps. This is a community issue. It has to go to a committee, at which point they will have a public meeting and hear those who are for and those who are against it, and then come back with a recommendation of the full council, which again, at that point, we can really get down to in-depth discussion of this. So that's how the process will be. You'll have your day before both bodies.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify something, because I actually spoke to Mr. Mitchell today, and I want to make sure that I was perfectly clear that this is not us against Mr. Mitchell and Mitchell's Lumber. This is Scotta Street and Mr. Mitchell trying to make our street safer for the children. I discussed with him my concerns. He's aware of them. He is 100% behind us attempting to make our street safer. He actually 100% endorses the idea because he has some liability issues there too that he actually brought forward to my attention whenever we were discussing this. You know, he does have 18-wheelers, and I'm sorry if I repeat anything that my wife said. Sorry for being late, working in Pine Bluff. So, but you know, he has 18-wheelers and forklifts that run back there constantly from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 7 a.m. to noon on Saturdays. So my fear is, you know, a kid getting in the way of something like that, and I don't want that to happen without me at least getting a proposal to have an issue stop before something like that could happen. Not just for my kids, but all the kids on Scotta Street. We also talked about the fact that, you know, a noise barrier. There's racket going on back there all the time, and it's not a knock against Mr. Mitchell. He has a business to conduct, and I'm behind him. I do my business with Mr. Mitchell, but a fence of some sort would help with noise. It would also help resale value. You know, not too many people want to look at the backside of a lumber yard, but those are some things that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this is not Scotta Street turning against Mr. Mitchell. I have spoken to him, and we're all on the same page, and we both want to do what's right, and he's for it, and we're for it. I hope you all can see our side of it.
So all of the residents on Scotta are okay with this?
I personally have not spoken to all of them. My wife has. The only opposition that I have been told was Mr. Bruce Cash was somewhat concerned about fire hazard. If you block off one in the street, being able to get in and out. We have some proposals that we feel will meet those needs for everyone's Vikings that we can discuss later if we get the ball moving on it.
So Mr. Cash is the only one?
Yes, sir. That is correct. Mr. Cash was the only one that had any opposition to it, and his only opposition was fire hazard.
Right.
But like I said, we have some proposals for that too.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bobby. Vivian Cullen,
Yes.
you signed in to speak.
Do I need to speak again on the third reading ordinance?
If you would like to,
Well,
and we probably need to amend the agenda and address that issue now.
okay.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda and move item 9A2 to the current position on the agenda. Is there, and we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. I see 6 for and none against.
Okay.
This is the, just a second, Vivian, let me read it off. This is the Planning Commission, under Planning Commission, this is the third reading of ordinance to rezone a piece of property on North Myrtle Street. And Ms. Cohen, you have the floor.
To Mayor Bryan, the city council, city officials, my objection is still the same. Would you want commercial zoning where you live? If you would you raise your hand? So that's my objection. We do not need it. Plus the fact, we are pretty quiet over there. We are old over there, and we are cleaning up our street. So we do not need any type of zoning over there. And number one, I have talked to one person that said they signed. The person next door did not sign. They are old and they are feeble. So, would you want your relatives or friend to live close to some kind of business? Think about it.
Albert Hammonds, he's on the Planning Commission. All right.
Based on discussion that I've had with neighborhood neighbors, that this was something that should have been terminated and not even gotten past the Planning Commission. But unfortunately, through a lack of communication, they were not aware of the Planning Commission meeting. They come to me and spoke to me about it, and clearly it's not even within the requirements of being C2. C2 requires that it not be significantly objectionable to residential use. And when I hear in the neighborhood people, this is just objectionable. This is not the kind of thing that needs to be in the neighborhood. It's not a good fit, and it should have been terminated. The Planning Commission wasn't, but fortunately, we have opportunity now to terminate it. We don't need that in the neighborhood. It's just not a good fit. Any questions?
Any questions from the council, Mr.
Okay,
Hammond?
you're still on the planning
Right.
commission, and according, were you there?
I was there. But since then, the people in the neighborhood come to me and express their concerns about having this in their neighborhood. And I totally agree with them. They are legitimate concerns. And I just, unfortunately, they were not at the Planning Commission meeting, but we should have terminated it right then and there. But right now, we do have an opportunity to put it to rest, just to let it die.
So they're saying the reason they weren't aware of the Planning Commission meeting is that's the reason they didn't come and object at that time?
Right, exactly.
So after they found out about it, they came to you and,
Right.
and were objecting to it?
Yes, very strongly objecting to it.
Has anyone circulated a petition to at least the adjoining neighbors or anywhere within a block of there that they basically do not want it or against it?
I'm not aware of any formal petition. I'm just aware of people in the neighborhood that come to me and express that they are concerned about having something like this in the neighborhood.
There was a petition that was brought to our city council meeting that was shown to us, but it was not in our original packet, but there was a petition.
Would
Correct?
That was just a signing of acknowledgement of the fact that they were going to hold a planning commission meeting to discuss this.
I was thinking that the procedure would be for the residents around that would sign and then submit it to the planning commission. That's not the way it goes.
They did.
They signed a form that said that they were aware of the planning commission meeting. Isn't that correct,
Yeah,
Mike?
but aware of it, but not saying that they wanted it in the area.
It doesn't give
Oh,
a
it don't-
yes or no. No, sir, it doesn't ask for that. That's to be discussed at the planning commission meeting.
Planning commission meeting to discuss it, and it's also put in the newspaper prior to the planning commission meeting to make it available for anybody citywide to come and express concerns about whether for or against whatever it is that the planning commission's considering.
So you're saying that they were aware of that specific lot
Yes,
The individuals that signed it?
Yes.
It was made public, and people signed that, various neighbors signed that petition to the planning commission saying they were aware. All that is a simple petition that the landowner has to carry around to the adjoining neighbors and say, I'm getting ready to try to rezone this. And here it is, please sign.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
it's my understanding that the immediate neighbors were not contacted
And that was
and
my,
did not sign the petition.
that was my understanding as well.
I'd like to comment that I took that petition and drove, and the addresses that were on the acknowledgement petition all join that property on the north and the east. And there's two of them residences were on the south side of Womble Street, which I've been told that this petition is supposed to be anyone that owns property or lives, either way, within 200 feet of the proposed rezoning block, we'll call it. And from what I saw in that petition, I didn't get out with my ruler and measure 200 feet, but I do know that the people to the north, two houses to the north side, they were acknowledged to me. And two people to the east on that side of the street, and two people on the south side of Wong. I looked at the, you know, the.
Or did you contact a young man right across the street from there?
Which
Mr. Green.
did I didn't contact any of them. I just took the petition to see that.
What was his name on there? That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
If you got out of the way that
I don't remember. I just took the list to see that the.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put argument. I'm just saying, this gentleman live right there across from the street from him. You know, that's all.
Well, Hamilton, the ones that objected to you, were they maybe some of these that he's talking about that are right there
Well,
close
these,
to
some
it?
people in the neighborhood, you look at something like this. This that go beyond the 200-foot sign requirement. This affects the whole neighborhood. It's not just 20 feet of that particular location. So the broader spectrum, we got the whole neighborhood going down from something like this. Not just within 200 feet or wherever lot's going to be. So it goes beyond that. Legally, it's only 200 feet.
Yeah.
But the whole process of this, it goes far beyond 200 feet.
I think his question was, I mean, it's kind of confusing to me too, is if they did sign the petition acknowledging they knew about it.
I was thinking that they supposed to sign saying they okay with it.
No,
That's not what the acknowledgement
The
is.
petition, if you want to call it that, is just a form
You are
that they
aware.
acknowledge there's going to be a planning meeting.
But
and
if
it's gonna be
I got some
requested.
property and if I don't show up and I could be against it, then you still can go ahead and deal with it next to me?
The answer to that question would be yes. It's the property owner's obligation to show up,
I just,
or send something in writing, Zach, or a representative.
okay, well, okay. I think it's up for the second, third reading.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Some other neighbors didn't want to say anything.
John, let's see, John Jacobs, did you want to address this issue?
How the family today?
Good.
Oh, Christ, Mr. Jackson. I know y'all didn't get no golden egg, so y'all come back to work. Okay, I got one suggestion, and I got two comments from the last meeting. The first suggestion is security guard. We got one today. Okay, well, the chief been shorthanded because he had responsible people to apply for the job. So our suggestion is we get a security guard to monitor this building and the courthouse. Where your people come in, they scan them when they come in. Any individual come in this building or either the courthouse. Security guard, then they can access towards the chief where they would be if he needed assistance, any backup in it. And my comment from last meeting on the item they were speaking of, the loudness,
Okay, well, Potlatch been worked 7 days a week. Make a lot of noise. It's over 6,000 population here. Nobody said nothing about Potlatch. They should have had sound barriers long time ago. They knew it. The people didn't say nothing about it. They make sound barriers for airports. They make sound barriers for highways. And nobody say nothing about the noise coming from Potlatch because that's a #1 workforce. So that feed a lot of people in the area, so nobody holler. Okay, and my second is the railroad crossing. You do have signal lights for railroad crossing. Some of them work, some don't. Potlatch should have one in front of Potlatch over there. They have trains for 30 minutes blowing the horn, going in and out. Okay, taking the boxcars in and unload them and unload them. You know what I mean? Loading and unloading. All right, the working signal light would be at railroad crossing. You do have railroad crossing anymore. But in certain big business places, you can get sound barriers. Small business places can get sound barriers. I imagine if they set up a business place, they can get up a homeowner. You won't have to hear the lawnmower, your neighbor's lawnmower. But then my last one is for the signs where you can't see visible at night. Warren Public School, Bradley County Public School used to have a shop class. You know? The children, 11th and 12th grade students get a grade for a project. That would be another project to help with the signs where they be more visible for you to see. And then y'all might be, y'all family, y'all be a little more into it than I am, but you might be more visible where that will make the signs more visible for people to come in and out. Traffic. And I thank y'all very much for y'all time this evening.
All right, thank you, John.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment about one issue he brought up. That railroad crossing that goes into the mill at Potlatch.
Yes, sir.
If there were a street light, there's a pole, a utility pole just to the left if you're going west of that crossing. If there was a street light on that pole, not one of those little dim ones, but and not particularly one of those bright, blinding yellow ones, but something that would light that up, because I personally can tell you, when they're moving those, especially those empty lumber cars, that's nothing but a framework, and you're coming either way, even though here's the big X sign, you could very easily run into one of those. Now, if they're loaded with lumber, it's a little more visible. So when they're backing those empties in, the chip cars are pretty visible. That's a structure. But if there was a street light right there, you could see, because a lot of times that locomotive is south of there, 4 or 5 cars, and you got nothing but these empty rail cars, hard to see. And I think that's needs a light there. And I don't know about the railroad company putting in, not being a highway, putting in something like they got on Martin, but if you just light up that crossing a little more, people wouldn't be as near to not see those and crash into one of those rail cars.
Thank you. We need to get back to the issue that we were discussing, which is a reading of ordinance 869.
Okay.
Does anyone else in the audience want to talk about the rezoning request on North Murray? Okay. Floor is, I'm getting ready to read the ordinance by law for the third reading. It's ordinance 869, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 220 and for other purposes. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 869.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 869. Is there discussion among the council on ordinance 869?
I'd like to make comments about it.
Yes, sir.
I agree that this neighborhood is in my opinion, a combination commercial and residential neighborhood. And I I can understand a next door neighbor or people within, let's say, a block, that maybe there is some going to be some noise from a shop. Like I say, I consider that a combination neighborhood, recognizing residential and commercial. It's on a state highway. And my opinion is, if we don't approve this rezoning as requested, the man's going to follow all the fences and a decent looking building and so forth. If we don't adopt this, we are basically saying that we as the city council do not want a person to put a business in our town.
Well, Mr. Mosley, I understand where you're coming from, but you have never lived in those areas. And when you never lived in those areas, you don't know what the pride that has been lost, okay? And what we are hoping that these areas be rebuilt, refurbished in some capacity, because growing up as a child, that has been a nice area to see it go down. And by no means am I against business, but you don't have something of that nature on a street that cannot supply, things of that nature. So, and I understand you live over here in this area, but it's not your ward, and you never lived where it used to be nice for black folk, and it's not that way now.
Anybody else on the council?
Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure I've got this right in my mind. This piece of property is right there on the corner opposite, so there's a vacant lot on the opposite corner.
Mr. Coleman's lot, he's in the audience.
Right beside Harvey's Welding.
Mr. Coleman owns that.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the
location.
lot that I'm talking about, the one on the north side of that corner there.
Right. Faces Harvey's Welding Shop, across an empty lot.
And I want to see these folks have a business, but it's in the wrong situation.
Any other discussion among the council? Okay, we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Fullerton,
Nay.
Alderman Chalfray,
Nay.
Alderman Reed,
Yay.
Alderman Mosley,
Yay.
Alderman Henderson.
No.
Okay. And Alderman Burks.
No.
Motion fails. The property is not rezoned. We'll move on to the next item, and I had an oversight here. There's a couple of folks, I think, that want to talk about Scott Street, Charlotte, McClellan.
No.
You done it? You don't need to. Nope. All right. All right. And one more, Sandra Smith. Is that about it?
You don't want to talk to me.
Still shaking no too. And I apologize to all y'all for leaving you off. I got bum puzzles while I was up here. All right, the next person to address the council is Brenda Stewart.
Good evening. How are you?
All right.
I want to discuss my end of town again. You know my end of town toll free.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I need some help. No, I need some help with Newton Drive. First of all, the mayor says he's going to pave it this year.
Try to.
I
I
need.
never said I would.
Well, you
Try
said
to.
you couldn't do it last year. You'd do it this year. I got witnesses, fella. Oh Lord, he admitted it, huh?
Politicians
All right.
had good intentions.
Well, I realize our dog catcher has been sick, and we got dogs running and tearing up trash everywhere. Well, the people that live down Newton Drive bring their trash out to the road for the garbage to pick up. One of the remarks made, well, they didn't know where the water meter was, so I made a special trip down there and I found that water meter, in the same place mine is, about 2 foot beside the driveway going into the house off of the street. The garbage truck does not go down there. Okay, that is all their business. What makes it my business is when they bring it to the street and put it out there in the bags, and every dog in the trailer park in the whole county comes and has lunch. They have it under my sweet gum tree. So who gets to pick up all the mess? Well, they got me twice last week. I'm out there cleaning the ditches. I didn't get paid by the city anyway, but I got them clean. I would appreciate any help if you didn't do anything but get one of those wire baskets. If you want to leave it like it is, or send a garbage truck down there. If they go down there and the dogs tear it up, it's on them, not me. If you got the wire basket, they can't get over in it to tear up the trash, and I'll pick up my own. The other thing is, there is, which I have discussed this with a council member that had a chance to see it. In the trailer park, it's been over a year ago that these trailers were put in there. They tore the insulation out of one and just piled it out there in the yard. And it has been there for over a year. There's mattresses on top of it. There's stoves and refrigerators throughout there. I know that this town, because I know Brian Martin didn't want a trailer park here to start with, so I know there's regulations for it. And when it rained, and when the March wind got a hold of it, the whole neighborhood got a nice blanket of insulation. And I would like something done about that pile. Now, the trailer park is a business. It has an owner. That's all I'm saying. Please help me. I would appreciate it very much. I know you got a lot more problems besides that. But anything you can do down on that end of town would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Bruce Cash.
We have, under Mayor's report, you have your BCIDC report. You have a street closing request from the Pink Tomato Festival Committee. Has everyone got access to that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we close the streets for the Pink Tomato Festival.
Second.
We got a motion to close the streets for the Pink Tomato Festival and use of the Warren Cultural Center from June 1st to June 10th by the Pink Tomato Festival Committee. Is that all right?
Yes, that's what I intend.
And the second was by Ms. Henderson, is that correct?
No.
By Mr. Birch. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor raise your hand. I see 6, 4, none against. We have commission reappointments. First one will be Nick Callaway, Civil Service Commission for 6 years. He's been an active member and attending.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor raise your hand. I see 6, 4, none against. We have Irma Jefferson for the Warren Planning Commission, 3 years.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I yield.
Hold it. My city clerk fussed at me for going too fast.
Well, I'm sorry.
No.
Alderman Fullerton and made the motion, and Topher made the second.
She like pretty
She
name.
gets credit. All those, any discussion? All those in favor raise your hand. I see 6, 4, none against. Chuck Cannon, Warren Planning Commission, 3-year term. Need a motion.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Alderman Henderson. Any discussion? Hear none, all those in favor raise your hand. I see 6, 4, none against. I do have one announcement under my report that I did not include. I just found out about 4 o'clock today, but there's going to be a bid opening April the 18th at 2 p.m. To finally purchase the generator that y'all authorized me to seek a grant for. when Hurricane Ike came through in whatever year that was. And I applied for a grant to get a generator, and lo and behold, they started passing out the money this month, and we're on the list to get about $45,000 to purchase a generator. So we're gonna open bids on it April 18th to see if we get 2 o'clock.
Where is this generator going?
Oh, I'm sorry, I guess that's pretty dumb not to tell you. It goes at the water plant for the new well. And we want our water on when the electricity goes off. So, there you have it. That's just an announcement. Police Chief Randy Pitts recognized. You have a report in your packet. And I will read the title page. Do you have anything to add, Chief Pete?
Yes. Most of you, I'm sure, remember back several months ago, we were able to obtain a grant to buy video cameras for all our police cars. We bought one to start with to make sure that's exactly what we wanted, and it worked out very good. The others have started coming in. I think we now have a total of 3 that's been installed. Reynolds Radio out here are installing them since we bought them through, and hopefully by the end of next week we will have cameras in all the cars, which will be a very good thing, be a safety feature for the officers, and also it's a good training device. Plus, it cuts down on a lot of complaints and unnecessary waste of time. The renovation of the building is coming along. We've got one big mess down there, but we know that's going to pass, so we're looking forward to the time they can finish it up and everybody will be proud of the new work areas, and it's going to be very nice when they do get through. We are going to participate, let me back up just a minute, our applicants that we've had, I'm still waiting on some information on one person. We're not having a whole lot of luck, but we are participating in the job fair that Ms. Dorothy Henderson is going to be taken care of here in May, and we're hoping, I'm going to be there myself, I'm hoping I can make some contact, do some networking, and meet some possible candidates, and we can get some of these positions filled.
Mr. Chief, how long does it take to get a background check done?
Depends on where the person lives. Depends on what we have to do. We have to send information by mail to their previous employers, to their references they use. It all depends on how fast people get stuff back to us. We make a lot of telephone calls, but at the same time, this background that I have just started only has been going on almost 2 weeks. So you have to be very thorough. And if you're not, it'll come back and you'll wish later on you were. So,
I mean, do you do FBI as well?
I'm sorry, sir?
FBI as well?
We run a check on them to the FBI, yes, sir. They have to be fingerprinted. Fingerprints have to be sent off. It's a big process to go through. But we continue to try to find officers to fill our positions. But we want the very best we can get also.
Alderman Fullerton, do you recognize?
There's no business that I'm aware of.
I am going to refer a little small item to your committee.
All right.
We need, it's that time of year to try to get in the state contract and get a police car purchased. Normally I have 2 in the budget. We have no grant money this year, so we're going to do one, try to do one, but we need to discuss it. And so I'm going to put it in your committee, just purchase a police car.
We will meet.
It won't take long. We'll have all the specs and all that stuff we need to talk about. All right? Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I want to commend Chief Pete. I assume you haven't sold the extra police cars, but maybe they're moved over to the armory.
If you'd like me to, I'll explain to you what we've done. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, they're moved over there. Okay. Because I had one person ask me, when you had the older units, plus I'm sure some people that were on duty were parked there, asked me, why does Martin need 14 police cars? And I guess they drove by and said, 1, 2. So I appreciate you moving them, because
Well, those cars,
there's a lot of situations with police cars. Some of them you try to get sold.
I appreciate your
some of
comment.
them-
Those cars were high mileage cars,
Right.
and we have sold 4 cars. We're running through the sale like the auditors require us to do, and got a decent price out of them and got rid of them. We have 2 cars sitting there right now hopefully we've got 3 openings, so hopefully we're going to buy another car, but at the same time we only have 2 extra cars. So we've gotten rid of those old cars that needed to be gotten rid of.
Chief, you have a pecking order to decide who gets the cars when they come in?
Well, in the past, I've always given the sergeants the new cars.
The sorries.
The sergeants.
There you go, Joel. Pick up on the word. Let's get that on the camera. Sergeants.
But no, the sergeants have always gotten the new cars. But at the last few, in fact, the 2 sergeants got the last 2 that we bought. But at the same time, now we're getting the cars in the shape to where our maintenance bills are running $150, $200 a month, unless we have to buy tires or something like that. And it's a big savings compared to what we were doing. So those cars cost a lot of money, and I appreciate y'all starting helping me to get the take-home cars program started. It has saved the city a lot of money.
What you need to do is we need to get some kind of price on gas on it.
Yes, sir.
So you can't buy bulk gas for the city?
Now what?
Bulk.
Bulk gas.
Bulk gas for the city.
Well, we're buying in several different places. We don't have, whenever Callaway went out back here, we don't have the bulk gas anymore. But we are.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's astronomical to see how much goes at $3.90 or 75 cents, whatever it takes. You know, I mean, it's a drain on the city, but I understand. Go ahead. We got it.
We're trying to, I've got the officers to the point we're trying to sit a lot. And graveyard shift, I'll give you a prime example. We're checking our property, but we are sitting around the convenience stores that's open. These things, we are doing patrols. We are answering our calls. We're also trying, and that's what I keep telling them every meeting, I want you to limit your miles, answer all your calls, and patrol all the property. You can't do it all. But they are trying to keep their miles down because gasoline is very expensive, and we are using a considerable amount of gasoline. But you have to patrol. That's just part of the territory, I guess.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Fire Chief Edwards, you have his monthly report.
I don't have anything there. You don't have anything on the committee either.
Any questions for the fire chief? Alderman Reap is recognized.
Have no business this time.
You got off right, sir. Sanitation Manager Mike May, you have his monthly report. Looks like he ran a profit for the month, which is good. Any questions on the sanitation portion? Hearing none on that, change his hat, and, oh, excuse me, Alderman Mosley is recognized.
Sanitation Committee has no business this time.
Thank you. Building official Mike May, you have a monthly report. Any questions on, for him in his building official capacity? All right. Look at you. You're awful quiet. Street Foreman Tommy Adams.
cleaned up around the old depot, around the park. Done a lot of bush hogging. Same old, same old. Just keep coming back. We cut it, it grows up. We cut it again.
I'd like to compliment Mr. Adams on his supervision of the prisoners that came and cleaned off the old depot. They did a great job of assisting that. Two of his crew ran the chipper while the prison guys drug the limbs up.
Mike had 2 men now.
Mike had 2 men. Excuse me, I'm going to compliment Mr. May.
They did an
It was
excellent
coordinated. It looks great for anybody that walks around the old depot. We got permission from Arkansas Midland to park on their territory and clean that hillside. I claimed it as city's property and stake my claim on it. We're going to keep it clean for the safety of folks walking.
It helped it.
It did, yeah, it really did. Tell them about Shelby Street a little bit, what they're doing out there.
Well, we
trying to do out there.
We didn't do very much. We got about a weekend on it, digging some those soft spots out. Go out there where the asphalt rolled up, kicked up, and gave way. What I'm trying to do is get it up halfway decent and put milling in it and all. Roll it in and get them a halfway good surface to start on. If I get all the soft places dug out, then they can come in there and just take that machine and just run a level over it. Don't try to make it look pretty or nothing. Just try to get it halfway level. And then they can come back and put the surface on there and you'll have a real nice street then. But if you don't do what we're doing right now, you're throwing your money away because those holes are soft places and all that. You asphalt over it, you're going to be digging them out in 2 months. So that's what we're trying to do down there. We're trying to get a foundation back under it. That's what we're trying to do.
You get all the speed bumps up?
I had them up, but they really didn't need it as rough as that sucker was.
Alderman Burks is recognized.
The only thing that I want to mention to Mr. Adams is that, that drainage over there that we need to look at Mr. Jefferson, that intersection there was pretty much stopped up with a lot of rain.
Well, it's been draining pretty good, but it ain't no opening in that street. All of that
just
comes
run
over the street.
Run down to the branch,
But we'll get it out what little we can. But that's another deal. One of these days we need to address. It needs to put a pipe in there and a catch basin to get that water off the street.
Right.
The one that goes right there behind the projects there?
Yeah, it goes right down the
Right
branch.
down the Jefferson's house.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that street just floods.
The only other thing that we got, $120,000 that we need to look at, and I need to get with y'all and see what we want to deal with this $120,000. It's not going to be very much that we can deal with streets on, but we need to find out how we want to do it. We're already working on Scholar Street, so money left over, it's going to take it fast. So whenever y'all going to have a time, Helen, would you contact everybody and see when y'all have a chance to go, Mr. Reed, Mr. Topri? And also at the same time, we can talk about closing of Scholar, dead end of Scholar. And
We'll get your meeting scheduled for you, Mr. Burks.
okay. Expeditiously as possible.
Yes, sir. We will contact. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Community and Economic Development, Mr. Topri.
Not nothing this time really, but just have a comment. I just would like somehow through some function or some group to get some type of ambassador program for new business, because we have potential of gaining a few millionaires here in a couple of months, and it'd be best to get in on the front end of them and show them how we feel about progress in the city and not let them get away from us, and maybe we can get some investments out of it.
All right.
Anything else?
Well, no, it's just kind of exciting to me, especially we're on a business, somebody got $1 million to spend, it kind of helps your economy.
All right. Ways and Means, Alderman Henderson.
We don't have anything listed, but we do have in our packet, thanks you to Jeannie, the overtime. And if you would review it, it consists of 3 pages. She has given us the overtime for the first quarter in 2011, which was $26,459.44. And for the first quarter of 2012, where we are now, $29,566.12, which means that we're up by almost $4,000. And if you'll look on the overtime pages, it will give you a breakdown as to what department and who the individuals are who's receiving the overtime. That's all I have. And thank you, Jeannie.
Miss Jerry actually did that.
Who did?
Miss Jerry.
Okay. Would you please thank
I
her?
will. I certainly will.
Anything else, Alderman Hill?
That's it. Thank you.
Under item 9, reports and businesses of boards and commissions. On the planning commission, you have the minutes. There was no meeting. Item 2 has been handled. Aviation, no minutes. Water and sewer, you have the minutes of the monthly meeting. I might point out to you that they are surveying the bypass currently for putting in the water and sewer line around the bypass, water around the bypass totally, sewer line into the industrial part of the Griggs property. And we will, I'm sure that they'll be back to us for some money at that point in time. We will have to handle the financial portion of this with Arkansas Natural Resources. I'm sorry, went into the abyss. Arkansas Natural Resources is financing it, and we will be required to pass an ordinance with a bond issue attached to it.
Mayor, well, when we go through with that sewer out there, are those people in the city limits that doesn't have it, or will you be able to extend it to them?
She hadn't asked that question. Oh. A portion of it. Now you're going to start a war.
I'm sorry. It's
a good question. It's a good question.
Okay.
Right now, it's going to tie on Pennington Road and go up Cowboy Road and catch, I think, 4 residents. To do the extension, we're getting prices to do the extension of Pennington Road, which are the folks that were really desiring it when they got annexed, I believe. And we're trying to get a price on that and see if we can do that off our hill. And it won't be part of this project. But if we can include it in the bid and get the price lowered for doing the whole work, we're going to do that. Parks and Rec, David King and both Renus asked to be excused tonight because David's daughter's playing and Renus is serving hamburgers. The Housing Authority, you have the minutes of the monthly meeting, and you have the Cultural Center report in front of you. And we have item 10 is unfinished business. Item 11 are public statements. Anyone want to address the council?
Mr. Mayor, I want to make a brief statement if I may.
Yes, sir.
Growing up in this town, I can't help but think back and see how it used to be, how clean it used to be. And I was just sitting here thinking about Red Hill. Anybody ever heard of Red Hill?
Oh,
yes. And that was the most nicest street. And the Red Hill was up here, Pine Street up to Bradley Street. And it was so nice, those homes that were so nice. And riding all over Warren and looking to see where we are now, I can't help but to feel bad. At one time there were, over 1,000 jobs at Potlatch, and people were flourishing. People didn't have, a lot of elaborate things, but they had clean homes, clean, yards. Everything was nice. And they had a lot of pride. And I look at the streets that we have now all over, and I get sad to see where's the pride in our community. we can do some things, but there has to be pride in our folks to make it work. I know there's Armstrong, there's hiring folks, but as far as retaining and getting the people that's going to come and have this town to grow, once they get their education, they leave, they go. You mentioned about my son coming back to coach basketball.
I had a brain freeze.
And he said, Dad, I ain't come back from Dallas to coach no basketball. And I love for him to come back. I have to go to Dallas to see my kids because just like yesterday, he was working on his birthday out at Ranger Stadium. Oh man, I'm making part-time $300, $400 selling beer. You know, I mean, these are opportunities these folks have. And we got to be thinking more positive how we can get our town to grow, what can we do to pull in, clean up the neighborhood, because, and I want everybody to understand, I am all for business, but when you see a neighborhood and your neighborhoods go down, your streets go down, it only makes you sad. When you see old Bradley High School just deteriorate, it makes me sad. When you see churches go down, it makes me sad. As folks die out, you don't have no one to replace. And I might not be making sense to y'all, but and that's what we picked up in rural sociology and all these courses that I went through, call myself going through the college, where they tell how you can develop, how you make people come and have pride and develop socially. Those three institutions: family, education, things of that nature. But you got to have it. We're missing something here, because if you go up Red Hill and you see how at Bradley there, Dr. Dave White, there was a doctor there, a black doctor, and it's looking bad. And you come on down to Mr. O.W. Harris, Miss Jeanette Lemon, and all those folks, it's not there now. Now, churches are being affected the same way, because when folks get educated, they're going to be out of here. Am I making sense, Ms. Ford?
A lot of sense. And I do need to ask a question.
Hold it. Just a second.
Once we get through.
I just want to say that. I just want to keep in mind, and like I said, I'm not against the business, small business, anything, but it's just sad to see we sit here and we deal with these little small things, and it's tough to see how it used to be, and people weren't making as much money, but they had a lot of pride, and we can do anything now. We stick anything anywhere now, and we'll be satisfied. Oh yeah, they'll get on over there with the folks. That's all right. That's not the way it goes. Not the way it should be. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll have to add a little bit.
Alderman Fullerton's recognized.
Having grown up in Pine Bluff, which was a wonderful, wonderful town.
Yes.
It breaks my heart to drive through there, and
Yes.
I do not want the same thing to happen to Warren.
Yeah.
Mayor, do you have the date for the cleanup day for Bradley County for Warren?
No, ma'am.
It's
We're working on it. We started out with April 28th, but we ran into some April 2011 doesn't help me much, does it? Then April, I believe 28th to 29th, but that date's not going to work. So I'm working with Clean Up Arkansas to figure out a date in May.
So it will be in
yeah,
May
that
instead
blew
of
up
April.
today. We were going to have it late April, and that blew up, and we hadn't been able to get together on a date. Janelle Lipton and David King and I are working on that together. And any of you that want to participate. It's going to be a city-sponsored function, and we'll have the city pick up stuff during the week like we normally do for free, but we'll advertise it and try to encourage people to get as much as they can. The county judge has agreed to have a free delivery, no charge on Saturday, on whatever Saturday we pick. So that's where we are. That's in the planning stage. Now, Ms. Strong, you're welcome to come to the floor, ma'am, please.
Well,
Come up
I
to the
really
podium.
talk loud enough for everybody to hear me.
Oh, but we want you on the camera, ma'am.
I don't need to. everybody might run out of here once they look at it. But what I wanted to ask a question, and I'm glad the chief is still here, you know, it's concerning, on Saturday, I received a call to the city council members, the mayor first, and to each of you here. I received a call from down in Johnsville, and this person had called me wanting to know, is there a place somewhere that a person that has really bottomed out on drugs, and all of us know that Warren has a lot of drugs in the rural areas, and practically all of us here know what drugs. We got an uncle, an aunt, a sister, brother, cousin, or somebody that has been taught by drugs. And I feel like a drug addict that has bottomed out is not, jail is not a place for them. So I was wondering if there is somewhere, a number somewhere, that these people can call, a family member can call when a person is walking the street and asking for help. They can go. I know about New Beginning. I called the police department, and the lady referred me there to the hospital. I called the hospital, and she didn't say they don't accept nobody there. They referred me to New Beginning, and I said, well, we need a 1-800 number somewhere in place that somebody can call, a 1-800 number to get help for these people. So when I called New Beginning, the director was not in, and he wasn't going to be in maybe till later that evening. I said, well, give him my number and have him to call me. Call the person. I gave the number to the person in Johnsville to call them and let them know what they could do. And I'm here because I have a concern about people in general. It's just not about a certain group of peoples or some people, but our peoples, and we have to be concerned about that. Our young peoples are dying off of drugs that's being pushed right around here in this town, or even alcohol. You got more stagnant drunks in Warren than anywhere, and they don't even sell liquor, and we get no revenues off it. So I have a concern. And another thing, over at the Housing Authority, and that I went back, this was on New Year's Eve. I believe it was raining, and all of their plumbing over in Twin Rivers was backed up. I called the police department again, and I said, well, you guys send somebody over there, because I've called Mike Jolly's office. There's no answers there. And those old people live over there, and all of their bathrooms are stopped up. So somebody need to send somebody. And if when they go off on holidays, Mr. Jolly and them, they need to leave an emergency plumbing number, so some of those people can have to call somebody to come out, or they need an on-site plumber somewhere, because those tree roots are there, and when it rains, it backs up over there. So I don't ever see Mr. Jolly in none of the meetings here. So somebody needs to speak to him that something needs to be done. These little old people don't need to have to go through that. So that's all. I thank you for listening to me. And I would just like to get an emergency number, maybe into the churches, flyer or something. Here is a number. You know, they got them for battered women's, I think. But I never see nothing for
I have a resource directory that I can share with you.
Okay. And I'd just like to get that information out to the public. Thank you.
Any new business?
Well, Jack, I have one more announcement, Murph, if you don't mind.
All right, we have announcements.
Oh,
free.
On this Saturday from 8 to 12, the medical community is holding a health fair on Bragg Street out there at the complex. It will be from Kids First to the Bradley County Health Department, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, catastrophe health cases kind of wipe a whole family out. And a lot of times you catch it early, it'll be more beneficial. And everything is just about free but the food. They have several food booths that will be selling food for first one thing or another cause in the community.
Did you say that was, excuse me? This Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this
Okay.
Saturday.
And I believe you have an announcement.
Valley County Job Fair. It is going to be May the 10th at Emmanuel Baptist Church, and I think everyone should have a flyer already. We ask that if you know of individuals that are wanting to find employment or go back to school, then have them to come to the job fair from 10 until 2:30. Or if you have employers that would like to sign up, we can get them signed up.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Henderson? Item 14.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Okay.
Motion by Alderman Tolfree, second by Alderman Mosley to pay the bill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor raise your hand. 6 for, none against. The meeting is Monday, May the 14th. And we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second motion by Burke, second by Tolfree. All those in favor stand.
You didn't put my picture in the paper. They have not yet, but they didn't take that picture.
I saw that they had a sign.
I guess it was whoever worked for the Eagle.
But I didn't have no recourse. So I had
Thank you so much for joining us on SalineRiverTV.com. Our next streamcast will be Wednesday at 4:15 p.m. You can watch the Warren Lumberjacks as they take on Hamburg. Of course, that game was canceled last week due to weather. So remember, just stick with us on SalineRiverTV.com, online TV for the River region. Again, for everybody at SalineRiverTV.com, thank you for joining us. Have a great day.